Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today I have some bonus content for you guys. The bonus content will be in the sport of football in the NFL world. If you guys haven't checked out episode 92, it is now available on all four of our platforms: our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account, and our Apple Podcast account. So go ahead and check out episode 92 if you guys haven't watched or listened to the episode just yet. So in this bonus content video, I'll be giving you guys a 2-for-1 special. I'll be having two NFL segments all in one video. Starting off with the first segment, I will be sharing my thoughts on Derek Carr signing with the New Orleans Saints. So yesterday, the news broke out that the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr agreed to a 4-year deal for $150 million with $100 million total guarantees going to Derek Carr's direction. Derek Carr has officially found his new home with the New Orleans Saints and is now in the NFC Conference. Meanwhile, for the New York Jets, the team that was flirting with the idea the most of having Derek Carr as their quarterback one next year heading into the NFL season, they'll have to look elsewhere for their next starting quarterback. They're very interested in bringing in a veteran quarterback. Now they are very interested in Aaron Rodgers. They flew out to Green Bay to have a conversation with Aaron Rodgers. From my understanding, the conversation went very well. They are very interested in signing Aaron Rodgers. If that route doesn't happen, the next best choice is trading for Lamar Jackson and acquiring him from the Baltimore Ravens. So the New York Jets will have to look elsewhere to get their new franchise quarterback. Meanwhile, for the New Orleans Saints, I like the move. I really like the move of them signing Derek Carr. I thought the Saints would truly be going into a rebuild mode this NFL offseason because they don't have any first round picks this year. The team, it's still, regardless of signing Derek Carr, the cap space is going to be an issue with this team moving forward. They're 45 to 50 million over the cap space as we speak, so there's going to be some moves that's going to have to happen on the roster very soon. We saw Jameson Winston released from his contract due to the fact that cap space is going to be an issue for this team moving forward. But right now, this shows to me that the New Orleans Saints are in full win now mode instead of rebuild mode. This sets up the Saints to be the favorites in the NFC South, a weak division that we saw last year. I don't see this division getting any stronger just for a little bit longer. When you look at the Atlanta Falcons, they officially removed themselves from the sweepstakes of potentially trading for Lamar Jackson. Therefore, it's gonna take some time for them to figure things out in their rebuild in Atlanta. Meanwhile, for the Carolina Panthers, they still have a lot of question marks to figure out at the quarterback position. They have some things to figure out as well. Draft capital is pretty poor. And then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who Tom Brady just officially retired. There's going to be a lot of question marks to see who's going to be the starting quarterback for them next year. They're another team that's over the cap space as well. I believe they're in the range of being over the cap by 45 to 50 million as well. And they're making moves to their roster as well. So to me, the New Orleans Saints easily have become the favorite to win the NFC South. And I believe this New Orleans Saints can be a heavy favorite in a weak NFC conference heading into next season. When you think about it, as of right now, the only contending teams that I look at in the NFC for next year are the Philadelphia Eagles, are the Dallas Cowboys, and are the San Francisco 49ers. Every other team is in that bubble of being a true contender or right now labelized as a sleeper. But the New Orleans Saints adding Derek Carr, they officially, to me, are going to make some noise in the NFC Conference next season. It sets them up pretty. Derek Carr is set up pretty well in New Orleans on both sides of the ball. Has a good supporting cast on offense, and for the first time in his career, has a good supporting cast on the defensive side of the ball. When you look at the New Orleans Saints defense, they still have players of Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, who's one of the best linebackers in football. It really doesn't get talked about as much as he should, but he's still one of the best at his position. You have Marshawn Lattimore at the cornerback position. You have Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu at the safety position. This defense has been at the elite. You can put them in elite conversation. They've been one of the best defenses over the last few years, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So Derek Carr finally gets a good defense for the first time in his career, and they have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. If the Saints could keep the following players, like I just mentioned, they might have some cap. They are in cap space trouble right now. They're gonna have to make some adjustments to this roster. But if they can keep the following names, on the offensive side of the ball, this team is going to be a threat in the NFC and make a lot of noise in the conference. So right now, if they can retain these players, this team's following offense will have Derek Carr at the quarterback position, Alvin Kamara at the running back position, Chris Olave at the receiver position, Michael Thomas, if you can restructure his contract and he can stay on the field being a healthy player, you have him at the wide receiver position. You have Marquez Callaway at the receiver position. You have Jarvis Landry out there as well if he stays with New Orleans Saints. You have Taysom Hill, who's an athletic player that's going to be the starting tight end next year. This team could be a very good team in the NFC conference, and if they think about it, if they win the NFC South, they get to host a playoff game. And who wants to go on the road to play a New Orleans Saints team in hostile territory? This team can make a lot of noise next year. I like the move of them going out and being aggressive and signing Derek Carr. And in the next segment, I'll be sharing my letter grade for Anthony Richardson's combine performance. So the letter grade I give Anthony Richardson, my guy, Florida Gator guy, A+. His draft stock definitely rose after his combine performance over the weekend. There's actually a lot of chit chatter, a lot of talk, a lot of speculation that Anthony Richardson has wowed a lot of scouts, a lot of executives, a lot of owners to the point where he could be the number one overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft. Now, in my opinion, I personally don't think Anthony Richardson's going number one overall, but his draft stock just went through the roof after this weekend at the Combine. He officially set the record for quarterbacks at the Combine performance. For the vertical jump, he had a 40.5 vertical jump that set the record. And also he set the quarterback record for broad jump for amongst quarterbacks as well. And he ran a 4.440. Whew. His passes look good in the passing department. His passes look crisp. The short routes, the medium routes, the deep throws, all the throws that he made at the Combine, in my eyes, in my opinion, look really good. Anthony Richardson definitely won over a lot of scouts. Scouts are going to fall in love with this guy over the next few weeks. And you look at his body structure. He's 6'4", 244 pounds. He has the body structure of a Cam Newton. That's everything that you want in a quarterback. A strong guy. A guy that can make plays with his arm, make plays with his legs, make plays in the pocket, escape from the pocket to extend the play outside the pocket when when the pocket collapses. That's everything that quarterbacks want, that scouts and teams want in quarterbacks nowadays. So I think a lot of scouts are gonna fall in love with him. He's always been a dual threat quarterback, but he needs some work. I will say he needs some work. He needs his game to be polished up just a tad bit. His accuracy can be a problem at times, but if he could get picked up by a good team, he could be a home run hit. If he's groomed up with a good offensive mastermind, a good offense, and placed in a good offensive scheme, the sky is the limit for Anthony Richardson. Just like any other player coming out, they're always going to need coaching. Anthony Richardson has the talent. He's special. He's athletic. He just needs to be polished up just a tad bit more before he's ready to be a NFL starter. Now, the thing with Anthony Richardson is I truly expect him at this point to be a top 5 pick in the draft. He's not going to slip past the 15th pick. He's going to be a top 5, top 15 pick. But I truly believe now that he can be a top 5 pick. But if Anthony Richardson does not start his rookie season, it's not the end of the world for him. He can be in a similar situation to what happened to Lamar Jackson his rookie season, when the Baltimore Ravens brought him in and Joe Flacco was still the starting quarterback. Eventually, Lamar Jackson took over as the starter for the second half of the season. But how the Ravens were utilizing him in the first half of his rookie season, he was put in the game for short yardage situations. He was put in the game to throw defenses off. Whether he was lined up at the quarterback position, whether he was lined up at receiver, whether he was lined up in the wildcat formation. That is the same exact way Anthony Richardson could be used in an offense if he does not start his rookie season. So therefore, he can learn from a veteran quarterback to see what team he starts for or he's drafted by. He can learn behind a veteran quarterback. Or if he doesn't start also, he could be used in a similar way that Taysom Hill was used by the New Orleans Saints years ago when Drew Brees was a starting quarterback. He could be placed into the ball game, lined up at receiver, and wildcat formations at the quarterback position. You can have offensive coordinators become so creative with Anthony Richardson because of how athletic of a player he is. And this is what should be the situation if Anthony Richardson does not start his rookie season. That he can be lined up and utilized just the same way I just said. So it's not the end of the world if he does not start. He's a project that needs to be worked on just a tad bit more. But if you work on him the right way, it's going to be a home run hit. And last year, as a Florida Gators fan, to me, his stats will not blow you away. Last year, he had 2,549 passing yards. He had 17 passing touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, 9 interceptions thrown. Was not, but let's be honest, there was not very much talent on that Florida Gators roster last season, competing in the SEC conference. Hands down, the best conference in college football. Anthony Richardson did not have the supporting cast talent-wise that Alabama roster had, like a Ole Miss roster had, a LSU roster had. He did not have these type of weapons around him, the type of defense around him. The players were not as special. So Anthony Richardson, if you're gonna base him off of talent, that's base him off of film last season, that's just the wrong way to go. And to me, the Florida Gators roster really hasn't had offensive talent or surrounded by them in the last 2 years. The last time I truly seen the Florida Gators team at their peak offensively and with weapons surrounded by them was when Kyle Trask was there, when Kyle Pitts was there, when Kadarius Toney was there a few years ago. Other than that, this team has not had a lot of offensive talent surrounded by them in this program. So to me, Anthony Richardson displayed just enough to be a top 10, top 15 pick in this up-and-coming draft. To me, he's a home run hit. If he's put in the right scheme, the right direction, mixed with the good offensive coordinator, the sky's the limit for Anthony Richardson. Whether it's in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, a draft pick will pay off if a team goes ahead and swings for the fences for him. He's going to be a special player, in my opinion, one day in the NFL. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Tom Styree, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.